Welcome to Up to the Minute. I'm Todd Duplantis. Good to have you with us on this dreary Monday morning. They say it's going to get pretty cold later in the week. We'll have to wait and see for that. One thing for sure, we've got your HCC news and information for the next half hour. Thanks for joining us live on Facebook and YouTube. We're here every morning when HCC is in session, live at 10 a.m. We're also on HCCTV. You can catch the rebroadcast of our show at noon, 5 and 10 p.m. And you can follow us across social media. Dr. Tony Rayo Sutherland's joining me now. Tony, good to see you this morning.
Good to see you. And it is dreary. I've got two windows next to me and it's like, ugh, this is the kind of weather you either want to sleep or you want to read a book, one or the other.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. Well, neither one of those should be on the schedule for any of us for the next 8 hours or so. But what the heck? You could take that afternoon nap. Why not? Hey, Tony, as we mentioned, we're on HCCTV now. We're also in social media. People can find us across all social media platforms.
Yes, you can go to Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. Just look for Houston Community College District. HCC will get you all over the place. There are a lot of HCCs. So just go to Houston Community College District and you'll find us, and then you can follow us.
That's exactly right. All right, Tony, stick around because you are going to be interviewing this next guest, returning to the show, Camisha Broussard, an English instructor here at HCC Southwest College, as a matter of fact. But she's also a new author. And Camisha, we talked before a bit about your book, but now the book is coming out.
Yeah, it's coming out. Had to unmute myself. It is coming out. I'm super excited and ready to talk to Tony. I got that good book for you. Not a nap, but a book.
All right, good deal. Well, the book will be great. We're looking forward to hearing back from you. So stick around, Camisha. We'll be with you very shortly. Okay, we're going to kick things off. It is Music Monday, and we've got the leader of a band that's been around for quite a while, based on a band that has been around for, it seems like, forever, the Beatles. We all love the Beatles. Well, Paul Beebe is in a band called Beetle. It's a tribute band to the Beatles, and it's good to see you, Paul. Thanks for being here.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
So Beetle, obviously based on the Beatles. You know, I got to ask you, I know it must... Does it ever get old playing, I Want to Hold Your Hand every night? And do you like to break out the stuff, maybe like Rocky Raccoon or something like that? People don't always hear all the time.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. We have enough material to play for about 6 hours. So wow. We play every Thursday for 2.5 hours, about 2.5 to 2 hours and 45 minutes or so. But we take requests the whole time. So the show is different every single week. So we're not playing the same songs every week. I mean, there's sometimes, there'll be weeks will go by when we won't even play a song. And then,
Well, let me ask you this. As a musician, what's the most complicated Beatles song to play? The one that's the toughest for you?
For me personally, the toughest is probably, I would say, maybe Strawberry Fields Forever, because there's part on the bass. Part of the bass part, I have to play the bass and sing, and the rhythms are different. So I'm doing one rhythm while singing and one rhythm while playing bass simultaneously. It's pretty tricky.
It's funny because I don't think the band ever did that song live. I know they did it live, I think, with Elton John. They did his version. So, they never really thought of doing these things live. A lot of their compositions, I guess, were completely studio compositions that are, incredible or difficult, if not impossible, to recreate because they put them all together in a studio over, a span of months at times.
That's correct. Yeah. Basically, about 1965, 66, they stopped touring and stopped worrying about being able to play the songs live, and then got much more experimental.
And you're also, you worked in a couple of tribute bands, Led Zeppelin Tribute and also Band on the Run. I'm a huge fan of the Wings. In fact, personally, I enjoy the Wings more than I enjoy the Beatles.
Okay. Well, the Led Zeppelin band is actually the drummer in the band plays in the Led Zeppelin band. That's Steve.
Okay.
He plays. I don't play in that one, but I have Band on the Run is sort of a spin-off of our band in some ways. It's two of the guys who sometimes play with us started that band, and I've played with them on several occasions. But they're great. That's a really fun band. And they take it beyond the Beatles era. We stay just in the Beatles period and don't expand out of that because it's enough material as it is.
Absolutely. You guys have a standing gig, is it, at the Continental Club every Thursday night?
Yeah, the Continental Club, right across the street from HCC Central's location. It's on that Main Street at Alabama. So, and we've been doing that every Thursday for almost 20 years.
20 years.
20 years, yes.
Wow. Much longer than the Beatles were ever around.
True. Yeah, we're having our 20th anniversary show the first week of March. I think it was March 3rd. That Thursday will be our 20th anniversary show. So very excited about that.
When you first started doing this, did you envision that 20 years later you'd be playing this gig?
Oh no, I thought I was young and I played in some other bands and I thought for sure I'd be a rock star by now.
Don't we all? Let me ask you this. You have other side projects, other bands that you work with as well besides Beetle?
I do, yeah. Actually, the three of us, the three front guys in Beetle, the three guitar players, the two guitar players and I play bass. We have a few different bands. We have a disco band called Disco Expressions that we play in. And then we also have another band called the Light Rock Express that does like 70s light rock tunes, like Michael McDonald and stuff like that. And
a little yacht rock, maybe?
Yeah, pretty much yacht rock. It's kind of the same thing. And then I play in a few different bands. Other than that, I play in a band called Thunderado that plays sort of gypsy desert surf rock, we like to call it. And then in a band called Grand Old Grizzly that does Americana, Tom Petty type tunes. And we play around town as well.
Obviously, you have a big connection with the Continental Club. Other favorite places to play in town, and what was your favorite place to play at that's no longer around? Other places we play or that I play often are White Oak Music Hall. I love that place. Actually, most of the venues have closed. Yeah. What was your favorite one that you missed the most? Honestly, the one, and I only got to play there a few times when I was really young, but it was a great place to play. It was the Satellite Lounge, which was on Washington next to Rockefeller's. That was a great place to play. That was a very long time ago. But I played all sorts of venues that are gone: the Rhythm Room, Fitzgerald's, Walters of Washington. You kind of name them, the Meridian and everything else. Many. Yeah, it miss a lot of those places. It's still, it hits me every time I drive up Studemont or to Studewood and look over to my left when I'm heading north at 6th and don't see Fitzgerald's. That just doesn't seem right. It was an institution for decades and it's been gone now for almost 5 years. Yeah, that was the first place I ever played when I was in high school. I couldn't even drive. Many a band there many years ago. Let me ask you this. During COVID, I know a lot of musicians did things online and you guys were doing stuff online from the Continental Club. How did that work out for you? Well, it started at the very first, they shut everything down and was like, don't get anywhere close to anybody. And when we did that, we actually did very much like a Zoom. It was StreamYard was what we were using, but it was each of us in a little window. We couldn't play together because the syncing doesn't work. There's a delay and all that. So we'd each play a song and do that. We did that for about 2.5 months. And then things sort of opened up a little bit and we decided to go back into the club, even though the club wasn't open. They let us back in there to use the stage. And we just started first filming with one camera, but then we had a friend who does a lot of video stuff. And so he started doing multiple camera angles. And then we got a sound guy in there and it turned into this pretty complex production of online. And we did it every single week. We didn't miss a week the whole time. Even from the very first week, we started doing it online and we didn't miss a single week through the entire pandemic. Basically a year. Are those still available on YouTube? Can you watch them? Oh yeah, they're on there. They're on our YouTube page, Beetle Band. All of them are there. Some of the later ones, some of the ones from around October and November have the really good production values. Let me ask you this, 20 years, do you see yourself doing this maybe another 20 years, even on into retirement one day that you might want to do this?
I don't know. I don't think it'll go that long. I think 20 years is a long time. I'll say that. and I mean, and among other things, our guitar player and our drummer are older than I am, a good bit older than I am. So they're, I don't know if they're going to be up for playing in 20 years. But,
the band is called Beetle Band, and you're live every Thursday night at the Continental Club. What time should people get there and for the show?
We start at about 7:20 every week. So, the club opens, the doors open, I think, at 6:30 or 7. There's seating, but it's first come, first serve. And we do it every single week, 7:30 to 10, 7:20-ish to 10. And this week we'll be playing the rooftop concert because it's the anniversary of the rooftop concert. So we're doing that.
And when can we see the Light Rock Express? I want to check that out.
Oh man, the Light Rock we were supposed to have a show next week or in a couple weeks, but it got bumped. So I actually don't know. You have to go to lightrockexpress.com and find out.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to have some links in our social media posts so you can check out all of Paul's bands. But I personally want to get out to, I'm going to want to see the Beatles, but I definitely want to see Light Rock Express. I'm a yacht rock fan. I've got it on my radio, Sirius XM all the time. So there you go. Paul Beebe, he's with Beetle Band, a local tribute band to, of course, the Beatles. Great to see you. Thank you for being on our show for Music Monday.
Thanks so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
All right. And once again, if you want to check out Paul, we'll put some links in our social media posts. Thanks, Paul. We're going to move on to Dr. Tony, who's going to give us an update. We spoke with Camisha, seems like a little while ago, and she was highlighting this book. Now it's going to be out this week, Tony.
Yes, she is, of course, an HCC Southwest English instructor and the author of Daddy Issues. Camisha, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Dr. Tony. Thank you very much.
You know, you were gracious enough to send us, I guess you'd say a teaser. I think it was chapter 10 or part of chapter 10 on your book. Yes. And it was just wonderful. And I have to read the rest of it. I have to. It's very enticing. I love it. But anyways, we're also happy because this is the beginning of Black History Month, and we get to kick it off with you and your book. Yeah. And your book gets kicked off, you might want to say. It gets put on the shelves very soon. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's been a journey. Daddy Issues is going to be released in paperback and Audible, as well as Kindle. And it's released on my 50th birthday, which is February the 3rd. So it was a great birthday gift to myself. And it pretty much just goes into a healing and reflection of my dad, who was an alcoholic. And it begins with his death. That's the very first chapter of the book. And then we just kind of go through our lives together. And I find ways to love him through the alcoholism. And that's what Daddy Issues is all about.
We're going to talk a little bit more about the book, but first, let's talk about how this book explores Black history. I mean, how does it tell people about it? Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so there's it explores the idea that I was born not very, very long after my mother had to go through the process of entering places through the back door. My mother and I are very different in terms of our physical appearance. So the book explores where she was born, which she was born in a place called Dyersburg, Tennessee. And it goes into the dynamics of Dyersburg, how the white people were on one side of the town, how Blacks were on the other side of the town, and how that colorism pretty much kind of transcended generations and became a part of me and my mom. There's a part in the chapter where it says, my mother was only 3 years old when Emmett Till was killed. And to think about that, because we think, oh, that was so long ago. But I'm like, my mom was 3 years old when that happened. I was born 4 years after Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was killed. I was born 1 year after the schools in North Carolina decided to desegregate. And we all know, we pretty much know the history of how that unfolded. So the book goes into aspects of colorism, Black history, and my father was part Italian. So it really kind of plays on my grandmother's feelings about Black women and even the hues of Black women and how that ended up impressioning me, being an impression upon me one way or the other.
Wow. Yeah, the colorization, as you were saying, it does make, it has made a difference. That is very interesting. And, well, let's talk more about the book. You learned something special about the publishing industry. It's not all that easy, is it?
It is not. It's not, but it was fascinating. Honestly, it was really fascinating to go through it. And touching on kind of the Black history and where we are as Black people, it was really hard to find a Black editor. Publishing my book, I didn't go through a publishing house like one of the self-publishing companies. I didn't do that. I did everything on my own. I found a printer here. And I was trying to find a Black-owned printer, and I couldn't find a Black-owned printer. I was trying to find a Black editor, and when I went to I went to a website. It's like an editor's organization, and I got a lot of applications. Maybe like 200 people applied. Out of the 200, maybe 10 were Black. And I'll never forget. One of the ladies emailed me, and she said, "I'll do it, but you need a Black woman to edit this." She said, "Yeah, I can fix your commas. I can fix your semicolons, but I really can't understand." She said, "I can't really appreciate your experience as a Black woman." She said, "You have to find a Black editor." And that was so hard to do, to find a Black editor. Then it was hard to find a Black illustrator, a book designer. So it kind of, the publishing industry, it was an eye opener for me when it comes to exactly how far have we come as Black people in different industries, and how is that going to look 10, 15 years from now? So that was one of the biggest reasons I decided not only to self-publish, but to also become an imprint that is available to other authors, no matter what the race is, but specifically to reach out to the Black community, because there's so little that we know. And I learned so much through this process. I really did.
I think that's wonderful, because a lot of times people write a book or novel, or they write something, and it's very hard to get it published. Mm-hmm. And, doing it this way, it kind of opens the doors, I think, more for people. And you were saying, I mean, you would think that we would have been further along now with this, but you're right. There's a lot that, you don't even realize is going on until you delve into it. Mm-hmm. So that is true. Now we can go back to the book, which I am so excited about.
I'm glad. I love hearing that you enjoyed that chapter. That's one of the shortest chapters in the book, but I think it tells a lot. It does. It
does. Of course, it's called Daddy Issues. And something that also caught me is the picture in the front, the first picture that you see, and it's got Black ballet shoes. Now, yes. I used to be a dancer a long time ago, ballet and all that. And usually ballet shoes are pink or maybe white, but mostly pink. Yes. And I thought that was interesting. Is there a message there?
Yes, there is. The cover, and it's okay if I show it a little bit?
Oh, yes. Okay. We have it, and we should be showing it.
Yeah. Right,
yes, there you go. Uh-huh.
Okay, it's like it's a Black brick wall, which symbolizes not necessarily going anywhere. And when we put it against Black ballet shoes, which are not typical,
right?
We never found brown ballet shoes when I was a ballerina. When I was taking dance, you would never find brown ballet shoes. You only found pink and usually white. Black was very, very rare, usually in practice rehearsals, but never, ever, ever for performance. So the significance of that Black brick background with the Black ribbons and the Black ballet shoes, it symbolizes hope, but hope that doesn't necessarily go anywhere. But there's beauty in that hope. It's kind of tired beauty, but it's beauty in that hope.
I love it. I love it. I guess because I know a little bit about ballet, when I saw that, I thought that really caught my attention.
Yeah.
And then something else you sent us, I guess it's called Almost, talking about your first loves, which was dance and your father. That's kind of what you were talking about.
Yes. The book is, because you were a ballerina, the book is broken up into 3 parts, and there are 3 elements of dance. Those 3 elements are space, time, and energy. And what it does is it takes my life with my father and it examines the space we had together, the energy we used on each other, against each other, and with each other. And it also looks at the time we had together, the time we had apart, and then how in the end it all culminated into me eventually learning to forgive him because he was just a man. You know, we put our parents on this pedestal where we expect them to be perfect. And when I looked at him as a man, and the book does, I think the book does a great job at this because I wrote it, but I think it does. It takes the 2 things I love and it shows how I lost them both. And dance was a very integral part of that loss, but it was so connected to my dad that I could not separate the 2. So that's how the book is designed. There's part 1, which is space, part 2, which is time or energy, and then it's time, and then part 3 is energy. And each part defines what that particular section means to a dancer, and then goes into how it unfolded with life between me and dad.
It's wonderful. And then there's a title, chapter 11. It says, Dad made a choice and it wasn't me. My heart just wants to fall apart when I even just read that title.
Yeah. It's it was very therapeutic to write. And one of the fascinating things is that my husband, which I had not anticipated this, my husband is getting to know me in a completely different way. He's getting to understand where some of my values and my philosophies come from. My children are starting to know their grandfather, who they did not know, and they're learning their grandfather this way. Dad makes a choice and it wasn't me. I don't want to give away too much, but it was a truly defining point in our relationship because his choice was so bold and it was so abrupt and it was absolute. And it truly defined where I felt I belonged and who I felt I did not belong to. So that one is a really, really touching chapter, I think, especially for daughters of fathers who were there and for daughters of fathers who weren't there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, we're running out of time, but I've got to ask this question. I understand that you also have it recorded, your book recorded.
Yes.
Tell me, why did you think that was important?
I spent a lot of time in a padded room. Oh my God. Because one, I did want to approach this as professionally as possible. I wanted to make as many mediums available as possible. And when I thought about it, being in education and making sure that I have accommodations for even my students in the classroom, I know that students do better with hearing. Some of them want to hear it and some of them want to see it and some of them want both. So I felt like it was mandatory. It was absolutely essential that this also be an audible book. And I had to learn how to work microphones and all of that stuff. I was listening to Paul and I was like, oh, that sounds technical. I need to learn that too.
So you did that on your own. You didn't even go to a real studio. Is that what you're saying?
If I could take you upstairs to my guest bedroom closet, you will see that it has foam padding all around and it has microphone stands. And yeah, my studio is upstairs in my guest closet because it wasn't being used anyway. We haven't had guests since COVID.
I love it. I love it. That's great. Well, I can't wait to either read it or hear it, but I'm going to do one of those things. And it's in your own voice. That's great.
Yes, it is my voice. You hear it when my dad yells at me. You hear me yelling like he's my dad. When I cry his name out because he's dying, you hear me yell. It's all me.
Oh my God. And theater is also my background. So I got to hear it too. I got to hear this. This is great. Well, listen, thank you. We're over time and it's so wonderful. And I want to thank you so much for being on the show. And I love your book, and I haven't gone through it all yet, but just a little bit has really got me excited. So Camisha Broussard, English instructor at HCC Southwest and author of Daddy Issues. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Tony. I appreciate it. Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Melanie. Thank you, Nathan.
All right. Thank you, Camisha and Tony. Looking forward to seeing that book released later this week. Okay, we've got a couple of things to go over in our announcements for today. We're, of course, running a little light on time, but we've got a Stafford solo exhibition happening in the city of Stafford on our HCC campus. Keep that in mind. We've got the exhibition for Esther Delaki Baidu, Monday, January 31st through April the 9th. It's at the Stafford Art Gallery of HCC Southwest College. Make sure you check that out. We'll have some information in our social media post. And Tony, we've got a DEI podcast series, which is going to be continuing this coming Thursday, I believe.
Yes, 11:30 to noon. And the topic is Beyond the Uniform, Veterans and Military Service. Dr. Chastity Holloman Douglas, who is the ABC of Special Programs and Success for HCC, is going to be the guest. So that will be very, very interesting.
Yeah, we'll have some information on how you can watch it in our social media posts. Also, February the 18th, it's a Friday. Our convocation was postponed because of COVID. It'll be happening on that day. So make sure you join us for the spring convocation, Friday, February the 18th. We've got 2 sessions happening, a morning session at 10 a.m., an afternoon session at 2 p.m. Register for either. You can also attend it in person or watch the live stream. We'll be live streaming both sessions. We'll have some information after the show in our post. And if you want to register for HCC's classes, time is running out to get them completed before the spring semester ends, but you can still sign up right now, Tony.
Yes. Second Start is here. So you can start with that. We have all kind of ways to take a class. But like he's saying, if you want to go in person, those classes are pretty small. So you need to register now. Go to hccs.edu/now and register now. You'll like it.
Yeah. And by the way, today is the first day we're returning to in-person classes across the district at HCC. COVID cases going down, classes back in the classroom. So if you have in-person classes, you should have received a communication from your professor, but those classes, the ones that are face-to-face, are now happening in person. Okay. Tomorrow we've got a special guest. The president of HCC Southwest College will be here, Tony.
Yes, this would be Camisha's president, I think, Dr. Madeline Barillo Hopkins of HCC Southwest. And we also have Tasty Tuesday coming up, right?
That's right. Our guest continues our Black History Month theme with HCC's Goldman Sachs 10,000 business graduates, Marinda and Reggie Watkins of Lamond, or is it Lamond, I believe? Lamond Kitchen that caters gourmet Southern cuisine. All that and more tomorrow. Tony will be back. I'll be back. We'll be live at 10 a.m. with Up to the Minute.